Hey, everybody, welcome to the Sith Dominion podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Dana Martin. With me tonight, our panel. Cameron, welcome back to the show.
We're
How are
back,
you doing?
brother. We're so
You're
back.
back. You're so back. I see you've got all kinds of cool stuff set up back there. I can't wait to talk about some of that.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Debbie, welcome back.
Mhm.
As always, you're a part
Hello.
of us. Today, she asked, am I really a part of this or am I fired? What? No.
Well, no, I seen the invite. I didn't realize it was for Cam, and I was like, was I uninvited? Did I get fired or?
Oh no. And then I was like, oh well, maybe she never actually got on and whatever. Oh, I'll just remove her and resend it. No, because if you do that, anything you would have done or did do would have been erased. I don't want to do that. Yes, Cameron, thank you for getting in and doing the poll. For some reason, I could get the poll built, but I couldn't click done in the top right. Like we click done or save or whatever. It would never let me click it. So thanks.
Yes, sir. Anything for my captain.
Yeah. Oh, Captain, my captain. You do know that, no, you don't. In Slack, that is my handle in Slack at work is, oh, Captain, my captain. Yes. Okay.
I have your IP
what-
address, so I knew that.
Oh, God. No Zane tonight. Zane is rehearsing for his gig that is going to be on the 7th, I believe. 7th. And he can correct us if not, but yeah, the 7th. Go check him out. Thomas Babiak and 30 Rack, and their single Favorite Color will release on February 14th. So a not so lovey love song released on the love day. Can't wait. It's gonna be great. All right, enough of that. Okay, I got it. We're just gonna jump into this. So I saw a video and I thought of Cam immediately, and apparently he's already seen it, so now it's like whatever. But I'm gonna play it anyway. Let me.
It's been a while, bro. This will refresh my memory.
I know, right? You're late to the party, Dana. It's fine. All right, here we go.
I've done much research on my hatred for the sequels, brother. Trust
All
me.
right, here he is. Y'all, let me know. Let me know.
I say the biggest fan of the movie The Last Jedi.
This might be the greatest take on the movie The Last Jedi.
No.
Yeah.
But am I pleased when people say they love it and that it means something to them?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think anyone who says, oh, people who like Last Jedi are not real fans, oh, go to hell.
Yeah.
And people who say, oh, if you don't like Last Jedi, you're sexist. Shut up.
Yeah.
Everyone just shut up.
Yeah.
Please, can we just shut up?
Yeah.
Debate it. Please debate it.
Yeah.
Debate what you liked, that's fine. But the moment you start getting personal and insulting people, you really don't deserve to call yourself a fan of this franchise.
So with all that being said, do you agree with Sam Witwer?
Am I?
Cam, all that being said, do you agree with Sam Witwer?
Yeah, I agree with him.
Really?
Yeah.
You think we can not like it and still have a discussion and not a argument? I know
with
we
me-
can here, but in general,
I mean, with me, yeah, but I don't know about other people. Some people get. I mean, there's both sides of the aisle that feel very strong about if you dislike it, but you know, like don't like people also that like the movie, and then it's vice versa. I mean, I think Sam put it well, but I mean, I personally, I will say out of the three, it's my second least favorite. I mean, I think I've reiterated what the worst one is in my opinion, but I mean, there's it's a beautifully well made film, but I just have a fundamental disagreement with where they took the greatest character in Star Wars. And for me, that's kind of where, I mean, he loses me within the first 5 minutes of the movie. So,
got you.
And I think that was by design. The main issue is when they do that and then they come out and say it was on purpose that we wanted to do that. Like it's where do we draw the line of like the director is attacking the fans, and to a certain extent, and then it's like where do we draw that line? Which it's an impossible line because you have extremists on both sides.
Mhm.
No, I mean in an extended version of that clip, I mean he talks about how like there's people that needed to see that version of Luke, right? And then there's people like me that fundamentally disagree that he would ever get to that point, right? And I mean that's just by interpretation. That's by how you feel about that character. I mean, they've done that to everybody at this point. I mean, they did it to Indiana Jones, Han
Yeah.
Solo. I mean, that's just it's the same old song and dance at this point. So, but no, I think it is. I don't think it's a good movie, and I think it's a horrendous Star Wars movie. But The Rise of Skywalker is the worst out of the three, and I could spend a trilogy breaking down why that movie's horrendous, and will if offered for free.
For free. Debbie, how about you? How do you feel about what he's saying? And do you agree or disagree with him?
No, I agree. I mean, you can have a debate argument over it, but once it gets personal, then you cross the line. And that goes not only for the fans, but also actors and directors. In the past, we've seen some comments made from actors, and I'm not talking specifically Star Wars, but just actors who are, they say things that stir controversy about something that hasn't even come out yet. And then, it just starts a whole shitstorm. And I hate it when people do that. It's just like, shut up. Let us make a verdict on our own. Let us watch it without you stepping in and saying stupid shit.
So, who remembers high school?
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
You
Who
say
remembers high
You say
school?
high
High school.
school.
Who remembers high school, right? High school.
Is that like high school, or is there a
High
movie
school,
you're
high school.
referring to?
No, not
Okay.
High School Musical and Zac Efron
Okay.
and all that. No, high school. Who remembers being in high school? And who remembers the theater club or the drama club, the AV guys, right? Like all these people that work in this theater stuff. These are okay. I never was in theater, but I did do musical theater. Okay. That being said, these are the people that were not exactly like they were a little different. I say I was a part. You know what I'm saying? I'm theater kids, band kids, jocks. Like everyone kind of had their own little whatever. And theater kids grew up to try to tell us what to do. They got picked on in school. I didn't pick on anybody. I was the one picked on. But they got picked on in school. And now they grow up and have a voice and some money. And maybe we shouldn't listen to anything that people say that come from a place of like that. I'm just saying. Why would you say something just to say something to hamstring your own project? Why would you do that? And say things like, I guess to your point, Cam, Debbie, is well, if you don't like what we're doing specifically with this, you must be fill in the blank, misogynist, racist, whatever. So you not the actor. Well, when the actors go on a tirade and say those things, I will blame them. But basically, you've just tainted the storytelling. You've tainted the art from my perspective, and we're having this discussion, right? We're not. Now, what would happen, let's say, if Kathleen Kennedy came on our show and you had 1 minute to ask her anything you wanted at all in a professional, respectful way to get an answer that you need from her? What would you ask? How would you ask that? Because when we look at everything that we just talked about, everything goes up the ladder to Kathleen Kennedy again, or now Dave Filoni, or do you think that's another question? Anyways, what's the one question you have 1 minute to ask her? Whatever you want. What are you going to ask her?
How are some of these things getting approved? Where's the story?
Do you think that she is fully and wholly aware of those things as they or before they happen, or is she unaware until after, say, that acolyte, the infamous acolyte interview? Did she know that was what they were going to be saying, or is that what you're getting at? Like, how did you let this happen?
Well, yeah, the interviews. I mean, the interviews were cringe, and it just put people off before the show even came out.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, usually in interviews, I mean, I assume, I don't know how Hollywood works, but I assume they have to sign an NDA, like, you can't say this, you can't say that, Okay, well, I think they need to put something else in there. Like, don't say stupid shit. Don't say something cringe. It's, I don't know. I don't know what gets into their heads if they think, oh yeah, if we say this, it'll be hilarious.
Yeah.
Not thinking that, okay, you've just offended half of the fans, the majority of fans.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I don't get it. I don't know how that happens. And I don't know how some of the shows even get greenlit. It's, and
Like
that's
an overarching, how did you let this happen? Like, how is all of it happening right now?
I mean, it's there, and I've said it before. But it's a core fundamental like disconnect with the studio, the actors, and the fans. Like from the actors' perspective, like yeah, to Debbie, to me, to whoever, to some people, like what the Amanda Stenberg said was stupid and just outright, like, I mean, there's just blasphemous statements, right? But to some people, and to Amanda, like that is like gospel. Like we should be, you know, thankful that she's a part of this project and what that means for this project, if you know what I mean. And it's a core like uh I can't think of the word, but it's just like there's a fundamental disconnect from the top all the way to the bottom, and they view us as subjects in a way instead of the paying customer. Like we should just consume product because we should be thankful they're making this product be in general, which I would argue at this point I would trade all of this just being over after Revenge of the Sith if it meant we didn't get a lot of this stuff, in my opinion, right? Because I think it's to a point now where a project like Skeleton Crew, that's just a fun Star Wars project, and it's just a fun show, right? In
You
general,
can't have your pudding till you eat your meat. You had to get through
Yeah.
Acolyte to get to the.
Yeah, but like at this point, they've lost it. I mean, they don't realize, from my perspective, they don't realize actually that we pay their bills, we fund their projects in a way by us watching, us buying the merch, us purchasing the subscription, us purchasing the physical copy, even though it's not as prevalent anymore. Like y'all make stuff for us, and it's reversed. Like we should just consume slop just because it has Star Wars attached to it. And I think a lot of people are just out of that. But that goes into my question. The question I would ask her would be, what was the logic behind there being no direction for the sequels? Because flat out, we could have got The Acolyte, but if we had great sequels, it wouldn't have mattered. It would not have mattered because they messed up the box office, right? And COVID happens. We can't, that just did a number on entertainment as a whole. But like, that's my question. Like, what was the reasoning for buying something for $4.5 billion? And then a year and a half later, The Force Awakens was fine. Like, that's okay. But the two movies after that it's fighting the one before it, right? It's trying to tear that one. And if we did that with our normal jobs, we would have gotten fired after the first trailer of The Last Jedi, right? Or after Last Jedi. Like, we would have got canned. But it's like, what was I know it's not just her. I know it's Iger and that board and all. But what is the logic behind not having your three directors for the biggest IP that you now own? What was the reason by not having them all sit down in a room and maybe delaying the sequels to 2015? But you already know how the story's going to end. And that way the actors know where this is heading, and you're not just like Mark Hamill's not getting the script for The Last Jedi and just going like, what is this? But they already had everyone's signatures. There's not much they can do. But that's my question, because if we get good sequels, let's just say if we even got Colin Trevorrow's Episode 9, we're probably in a better place, because that at least takes components from the previous two movies and tries to do its best to tie it all together. But the fact that we didn't get that and we got what we got, and they tried to throw the Emperor in our face and say, oh, this is like Dark Empire, right? Which back in the day, from what I've read, half the people hated it, or it's probably more than half of the people hated it at the time, and other people thought it was really sick. But it's like, but they're lost. They don't care. They see it as a money printing machine, but they hadn't plugged it in.
So I think for what I haven't seen from her is any accountability or
there's no accountability.
She's yet to say, as far as I know, I could be wrong, say anything recorded in print otherwise of, yeah, we probably shouldn't have gone that direction, or you know what, we've got some great things planned and I brought on Tony Gilroy, whoever, like to do X, Y. I don't hear that. It's always just kind of, I'm just
it's
guiding,
our fault.
just whatever.
It's our fault that we don't like it. She runs Lucasfilm, right? That's what she's trying to get out. Like it's our fault that we don't like the films. We can't let go what we knew and what. I mean, y'all had it more than me in terms of the Legends material, and y'all grew up in a time where there was no content, where most of my lifetime there's always pretty much been content.
Yeah.
But it's our fault we don't like it, right? Like, it's our fault that Star Wars is not doing well. Not because they can't get the general audience to get a Disney Plus subscription, or they can't get people to go watch their films in the movies. It's our fault. The fans that maybe voice that don't really like give us a reason. Don't say like we do what we want. Like this is the direction we took. Like, suck it. It's like, well, at least Ryan tried to explain.
Yeah.
Right. At least he tried to. It's just like, well, man, maybe you could have spent 30 minutes you spent on this Rose and Finn story that makes no sense and was the most predictable outcome we'd ever seen. Maybe you could have showed us 20 to 30 minutes of you could have put flashback scenes of what led Luke to get to that point, right? And then the whole crux of that movie at least maybe tries to have some justification as to where he gets to that point. But no, we get shoved down this romance of two actors that they won't even put like on their movie posters in foreign countries.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, I think Kathleen messed up big time and offended everybody in the whole fandom when she said, and I might have it a little bit out of context. It's not a direct quote, but I don't even remember what the conversation was. I don't know if it was movies, TV shows, or what. But she made the comment, "We have no source material,"
Oh yeah.
Yep.
and I'm
And
like,
yet,
"Excuse me."
we can see characters and tropes from these expanded Legends universe. Like you see, like yeah, come on, no source material, and then you're using the stuff you're saying that doesn't exist. One, and you're picking and choosing, in my opinion, some of the good stuff, but nothing. You haven't really dug into Thrawn the way that Zahn does, right? You haven't really dug into. I mean, you had Tarkin. You're getting sued for it now, but you had Tarkin in Rogue One, and why in the hell did you not expand? Give me some flashback there. I love Rogue One. I'm not saying, but that's a character that is a brilliant character if you really know about OG, right? So when you say no source material, I'm with you. That's a bunch of BS. And if you grew up and these writers really grew up loving Star Wars the way that some of them claim, I don't think we'd get the tripe that we've got. That we've gotten. Sorry. Come on. If I love Star Wars and I love Star Trek, I'm going to baby the shit out of it. I'm going to make it like the best thing ever. Not, I'm going to try to prove a point and piss off half the, like, what is, like, that's your passion. We're going to talk about passion tonight. We're passionate about Star Wars. And if you're not passionate about it, then what the hell? You're just drawing a paycheck and screwing everybody else over, man. Sorry.
I mean, Dana, think about like, you know, you and Debbie, like y'all's future grandkids, me, my kids. Like, are we just gonna, if we just keep getting slop after slop, how much, like, how am I gonna be able to show them 6 movies, right? That by the time that they're of age to even see them, aren't gonna look as good as some of the stuff that they've put out recently, right? I mean, they're losing me, and they're relying on me and people like myself that grew up with the prequels and Clone Wars and then Rebels and then got to live through the sequels, and like they're relying on us to pass it down to the next gen, but it's like I'm growing disinterested. Like, I didn't start Skeleton Crew, which I had a lot going on, but like, I mean, I didn't start Skeleton Crew till episode 4, right? Whereas the Acolyte, Ahsoka, Mando, Book of Boba Fett, which was awful, just absolutely terrible.
So do you think we're getting to like a saturation at this point? Like, could you, as a fan and as deep as your fandom runs, would you be fine with a 2-year hiatus? No new Star Wars material.
Good Lord, I'd ask for 5, brother.
And I know you're like sad. I say material. I say like keep churning out the video games and the whatever and the comics, but I just don't. I think you could do better focusing your efforts. There has to be writers that love Star Wars that have tried to be a part of this project, I would think. And you're not going after those with the heart and soul for the project. You're going after people who believe that the Force is a woman and that R2D2 is a lesbian when the Force is neutral and R2 has been called a he multiple times. So I don't understand if that's what your focus is. Why are you doing it with a $4 billion IP that 4 billion people love in their heart of heart? Why would you do that?
It's because that brother that's quote unquote the creative director now, all he cares about is keeping his token character alive and making her story usurp what Luke's story was supposed to be for the post Return of the Jedi era. That's all he cares about. Like if
Have
you
you
read,
seen Cool World?
uh,
Brad Pitt, Cool World. You should watch it.
I mean,
He's an animator, and he falls in love with the character he draws, and crosses over into cartoon world, and she crosses over into real world. But the point is, the animator was in love with his creation, dude. It's starting to look a little unhealthy, quite frankly. This
it
character
is.
with Ahsoka and Filoni. I'm just saying,
I
like,
mean, she was supposed to die. Like she would,
No.
like that was George's
can't.
original vision. She was supposed to die, but like, I mean, that's all he cares about. I mean,
Right
he's
after he
probably
met
getting
her,
he's probably getting something off the back end for keeping her alive. I mean, she's gonna sell more toys. People are
That's
gonna
true.
watch. They love Ahsoka, and Ahsoka's a great character. Don't get me
Agreed.
wrong. Like she's a great character, but like the story of post Return of the Jedi is Luke Skywalker's story
it is.
to rebuild the Jedi Order. Why isn't Ahsoka a part of that? She's not a Jedi. Whatever. Who cares? But that's all he cares about. And if you see the script for this Mando movie, it's literally like one of 20 Clone Wars episodes. If this is, I don't know if y'all have read it, if that's the alleged script of what it's going to be, but it's a Clone Wars episode.
Mhm.
Like, come on, brother. Like, what are we doing?
Debbie, do you think he's got an unhealthy relationship with the character he's created?
No, I totally disagree with everything you guys have said.
Great.
Why wouldn't you want to keep around a character that's very popular? I mean, so what? I mean, Lucas keeps bringing back, or he brought back, or he used the same characters in 6 movies. How is that any different than having Ahsoka? Is it just because she was supposed to die because Lucas wanted her to die and Filoni didn't? I mean, big fucking deal.
I don't think so. Oh, go ahead.
I don't think that's the case. I think it's the case of I thoroughly dislike the World Between Worlds, and I would have thought that the end that she's supposed to get it at wherever, I can't remember that location, when she's fighting Vader and she tells him she sees her master as a monster with part of his mask cut off, and she sees Anakin. She's like, I won't leave you this time, like she left him before. Great drawback, right? I think that's a much fitting end to that character, despite the fact that I think her, when they show her and Luke in the Book of Boba Fett, I think there's a lot of great stuff there that they couldn't touch on because they're insistent on doing zombie Luke, right? And it's a Book of Boba Fett show. Why the fuck are they in there anyways, right? That's another question. But like, I thought the end that she was supposed to get in Rebels, till they brought in, it's not the multiverse. It feels like the multiverse, and I'm sick of it. I'm sick of the multiverse
Sick of
stuff.
the multiverse.
I'm sick of it. Get it out. Kevin Feige, get it out, brother. Get it out. But like, I thought that would be a fitting end to her character rather than she pulls out from this portal. She's in this space-time world with Ezra. Honestly, pretty cool sequence because Ezra's pretty dope. But like,
Yeah.
That like that would have been a good poetic end for her character, and now she's just stuck. And what is she doing? What is she doing?
She's Fulcrum. She's working for the resistance or for the rebellion. I don't know what you mean. What is she doing? She's
Like,
acting as a Jedi, though she's not a Jedi.
Yeah, I mean, what? I mean, I guess it's still TBD, but like, what value is she bringing to the story? Why is she not on Osu or whatever the world's called? Why is she not passing down knowledge to Luke's students? Why is she not in somewhat way, and maybe she does, right? I don't see her value to the growth of this story anymore, other than him just shoving her down our throats. And I'll say it, not a big fan of Rosario Dawson's portrayal as Ahsoka. That's just me.
I agree.
Of course, I would have loved for Ahsoka's season 1. They've just been Rebels season 5 animated with Clone Wars animation style. They could have put more filler episodes in if they did that.
There was a scene in the original Clone Wars movie that was terrible.
Oh,
But that's where we
man.
meet Ahsoka, we meet Snips, right? And the little slug, Jabba's whatever, I don't know, whatever it is. And it's been a while. But there was something that always stuck with me, and it was towards the end after him and Ahsoka are official Padawan and Master, and he's walking off or whatever, and I think it's Windu and Yoda are talking, and Yoda says something to the effect of, was he ready or whatever? Yes, but he's gonna have to learn about loss, and something to that effect. I'd love for someone to pull that clip because it stuck with me. Of everything that was dumb in that movie, and I don't care, it was dumb, it was stupid. I took my kids to see it.
That was pretty terrible.
It was terrible. But that moment where he said that. So then I'm watching Clone Wars and I'm like, oh my God, is that the loss they're talking about? No, whatever. And then whoa, what is this? And he's dead. Okay, now he lost her, but now he's really lost her because she's dead. Like, like they had it, and no, not really. And he knows that she survives. Like, what? Now it's all broken. Like what you said, like that moment that was so profound that hit you in the gut is gone. It's gone. It's gone.
Like
because she didn't stay. She's not there.
Yeah, he was trying to do the Gandalf thing, and just didn't really stick the landing for me.
No.
I mean, he literally basically retcons his own ending to Rebels in the first 30 minutes of the first episode of Ahsoka, or 2 episodes, whatever. Like, what are we doing here, brother?
How do you feel, Debbie, about Ahsoka, just in general? Like, do you like the character? Do you think it is a character that should continue to show up in all these films or shows?
I love Ahsoka. I have no problem with her. I think I've said this before. I did not like her probably the first 3 seasons of Clone Wars.
I was like mid season 1 at towards the end. I'm good with her. You're like 8 season last season. Yeah, season 7.
Debbie hates her half the series.
The part when Ahsoka dies, awesome. When she comes back, I'm out.
No, it took a couple of seasons for her to grow on me because, I mean, come on, she was very annoying. But yeah, she grew on me. She had a great arc. She matured. I liked her, and I don't see anything wrong with Rosario, how she's doing Ahsoka.
Mm-hmm.
I think in the Ahsoka series, the character is in a different place, which is why emotionally, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
And that's why Anakin has to break her down in the world between worlds and take her back to Clone Wars. He had to break her of whatever, because it was like she was, I don't want to say zombie-like, but there was just no emotion.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it was because of everything that she had seen, felt, especially during Order 66. thinking Anakin was dead and then realizing, holy shit, he's alive, in the middle of Rebels. And, I mean, trauma. Star Wars is about trauma, for Pete's
Yeah,
sake. So, yeah, she's been traumatized, PTSD. But I think that was and it's just my opinion. But I think that's why in the world between worlds, Anakin had to, beat some sense into her.
So my biggest issue with Rosario Dawson's character is that, and maybe she's directed this way. I don't know. I like Rosario Dawson, so I hope it's just
I do.
not her.
I like
Um,
like her. I do not like
absolutely.
her portrayal of Ahsoka.
No, and it's like something happened in between Rebels with the way Commander Ahsoka was being portrayed, more vocal, more active, and then all of a sudden she's this picture of stoicism in whatever it's called, the show we were just talking. Oh my god,
Rebels,
not Rebels in
Ahsoka season 1.
Ahsoka's series. Yes, thank you, Jesus. It's like, title of the character title.
Charlotte,
It's just
come
it
take the
seems
bottle. He's losing.
that there's a jump in the character arc, but we know there isn't a jump in the character arc much, because we see at the end of Rebels Sabine there in the ship, right? And then it's Ahsoka starts from that point. So granted, there's been a little bit of time that Ahsoka's been away. We know that. But the character I saw at the end of Rebels and the character I saw in Ahsoka, the series, it wasn't the same. Like, she's different. And she's different than any other piece of her that we've seen. Would you agree, disagree?
No, I agree. I think that's the fundamental lack of them showing us, because I agree a lot with Debbie's points, but it's the lack of them showing us this trauma. Like,
I
you're
see.
telling me, like, I'm fine with the directions that the characters go if they show us. Like, I'm
They
fine
have
with
shown you. They
How?
showed you.
In the flashback sequences, is that what
No.
But like, how? Like,
Season 7 of Clone Wars, you
Okay.
saw her go through the feelings of Order 66 and hearing everything Anakin was doing. You seen that. You heard that. She knew all the Jedi were getting killed.
Mhm.
And then in Rebels, she gets close to this group of ragtag rebels,
Mhm.
Ezra and all them, and then loses Kanan, loses Ezra. That's trauma. When you work that close with people, she's basically seen Ezra grow up, and she's had a lot of trauma.
And Sabine failed as a Jedi.
But she
Failed her
has.
training.
But like Dana says, the person that we see at the end of Rebels to the person that we see in the show, they're two different people.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that they're portrayed, like, they tell us these things. Sabine fails her training. They don't. Sure, we have events but we don't see them coping with it in any way. Like, I'm supposed to believe that the girl that picks up Sabine at the end of Rebel season 4, Ahsoka the White, right, is picking up Sabine, and they're smiling at each other, and they're going to go on this adventure, is the same person that we see because that's all we get. And there may be books or maybe comics, whatever. I shouldn't have to delve that deep into that to understand where she got to that point as a character. Like, show us, instead of just give us a little 5 minutes of her coping with Sabine failing her training and how that makes both of them feel. Like, you have talented people that can show you that emotion. Like, we don't.
Maybe she's that way because she hasn't.
Then show us.
Though. They show us so much useless nonsense. Like we don't see we barely see Obi-Wan cope in his own show. You go read the book that's on my shelf here, you get paragraphs of it.
Mm-hmm.
They don't show us any of that, and then we're just supposed to believe that this character goes from point A to point B just like that. And you have 8 episodes to even show us just a little bit of it.
I mean,
Right?
that's a great point about the smiling, right? Like how many times do you remember Ahsoka smiling in her own series, where she should be smiling? It's her own damn series.
Brother,
I'd be happy.
have to show she's like this. She's like me on the pod, bro. She's like me sitting arms crossed, looking clad at the screen. But the difference is I'm not pissed off. That's just me. She's mad, but we're like, why are you mad? Right?
And Debbie, your point is, well, no, she's clearly in this mode of stoicism for a reason, trauma, etc. And I think for us, Deb, it's like, well, I want to see it. Like, I want to understand why. I can't just take your word for it. Oh, she's, had some trauma. And and how good could that story be? Like, I get it. From the time that Ezra disappears and Ahsoka leaves and then comes back, there is a period of time. And I don't know what that is. I'm a terrible Star Wars fan. F you, I don't care. There's a period of time. And we see that at the very end of Rebels, and then it picks up there. So Ahsoka comes back. So what happens then? Because all the flashbacks we got in the Ahsoka series was all of stuff prior to those moments. So what happened during there that changed her from that gap of time? What happened that changed her from someone that did smile more than 4 times in an entire series, that did be engaging in discussion and not just, that is not the way that we should be doing these things. It just did not seem good to me. That's just me.
And Dave can do it, man. Like Balin's lines make you feel something. And now that is, I will say, was it Ray Stevenson, RIP? Probably a better actor than Rosario Dawson. Potentially. Maybe he just had better lines to work with. Who knows? But he says stuff, and the way he talks to his Padawan, and the way he just almost talks to the audience, like, makes you want to know more. Like, oh, I want to, like, where was he? Like, what what? And then, like, every time you see Ahsoka, you're like, well, good Lord, we're going to get brooding here. Like, you're not fucking Batman. That's
Save
Batman.
the seething.
Brooding is for Batman. That is not for Ahsoka. I mean, good Lord. I mean, am I wrong? Like, get her quit brooding on my screen. Like, I just don't know why they don't do it, bro. Like, you're okay. Going back to Last Jedi, Luke tries to assassinate his nephew. Gonna get past that point because we all know how I feel. And then he just decides to freaking murk his entire friends and burn the temple and all this stuff. Like, what? He's like 14.
And he murdered an entire village.
Everyone.
Not just the men.
I mean, good God, brother.
So maybe he's following in the footsteps of his grandfather.
I mean, he's prepubescent, going through puberty, and he's murking people. I mean, like, show us, brother. Don't feel if that's what makes the characters from the good times, we'll call them the good times. We see them be vulnerable. We see Han take Leia's dig about, I guess you're just a smuggler that wants them up. We see him to a certain extent process that.
Yeah.
And so when he comes back into the battle, you're like, oh my God, he's back. We see when Anakin is holding his dead mother, right? She waits, almost feels like, for him to get there to save her because she just knows he's going to come save her. And she dies. She's like, I can finally rest. Like, and then we see him, like, his actions after that. You're like, well, I mean, honestly, probably would have done the same.
There's 23 seconds of processing, and you see it from beginning to end. Him change. Hayden, we love you. We always have. I've always loved you.
Amen, bro.
I'm with you. You're a hell of an actor. I don't care what anybody says.
But they don't do that anymore. Han freaking Solo dies, and we don't get to see Luke Skywalker's reaction to it. We don't even get to see him process it. We get to go to the next screen, and then they're like, well, why do you care what Luke's reaction is to Han's death, Mr. Fan? And it's like,
Oh, I don't know.
Brother, because
40 years of friendship. I don't know.
there you go. That's exactly why. But that's shitty of you to feel that way, Dana. You shouldn't care that much. Like, come on, bro. Like,
It's
show
my
us.
fault that I don't like it. You should just be open to.
Like, they just did it with Skeleton Crew, bro. Like,
It's
like,
good.
God, he has like 4 different names. Jude
Jod?
Law's character, Jod, whatever his name is. Like, you're like, who is this guy? And then he's like, yeah, I had a master and I had to watch them kill her in front of me. And then you're like, your actions now make a lot more sense. You are doing what you're doing for survival. I want to see more, but but now I understand, right?
Okay, I got you. So then you need that piece of connection in Ahsoka for it to make a little more sense to you why she's walking around brooding. And if we don't get that, then it's just piss poor writing and directing.
Yeah, because like how am I supposed to I mean, I have to accept it because it's the content, but it's like you're taking these characters from point A to F, right? And it's like, well, what about B, C, D? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you've got me for 8 to 10 episodes. Like, you can throw a 5 to 10 minute tidbit in there if you're only going to give me.
Look, Return of the Jedi is a perfect example, right? We knew that the bounty hunter got, in the carbonite and took bounty hunter. Boba Fett took him. Boba Fett took him. But we didn't know Jabba's palace. Like, we didn't know where he was taking him. We just knew that Jabba had the bounty, and we knew that since the beginning, and whatever. So when there were a lot of questions when we see Jabba's palace and we see Han on the wall. Well, how did he get there? What happened? What's happening now? Who is this Boshi? Who's this bounty hunter? And then, oh my God, it's all explained in due time, but within a timely fashion, so that you don't get pulled out of the moment. Everything is still getting fed to you as it's unfolding. You're watching it unfold. I don't think we get that. I think that's your point. We don't get the unfolding and unpacking. It's just, okay, they're here. Forget how they got here. They're here, and now we're moving forward. Okay, and there wasn't that in the original trilogy.
No, there wasn't. I mean, imagine Vader turns. The events of Return of the Jedi play out, right? But we don't get the 4-minute scene of where the Empire General and the Stormtroopers pass Luke handcuffed off to Vader. Imagine we don't get that scene. And then then how do the events after that play out, right? It's like we don't see him processing holding Luke's lightsaber and kind of having like the proud dad moment in a sense. And we don't get to see Luke pleading with him to turn. We don't get to see Vader telling him it's too late for me, son. And kind of he's a robot voice, but there's a substance change in the way he says it. Like, Dana, you as a father would understand that. And it's like, and then he still pleads with him, and Vader's like, no, you don't know the power. Like, I have to obey my master. And then they go, and then he's like, well, I guess my father's truly dead. And then the camera's on Vader, this masked up demon looking guy, right? To me, as an 8-year-old, 9-year-old, and then they go to the next scene. And then, which I hated when George added the no in later on in his cuts. I loved it much better when it wasn't, when he just looked back and then throws the Emperor over, right? And the Emperor dies. He dies. But like, we don't get that anymore. And and I feel like it takes so little. But Debbie makes a great point. We have multiple series of episodes from an animated show that we get to that point, but it's like we don't ever see them process anything anymore.
Yeah.
And it takes so small, right? Like when Ahsoka
Take
tells
Mando.
Anakin, in the world between worlds, such a small line. Like Dave can do it. I think he can do it. I don't
I
think
sound
he
like he has
cares.
faith in him, Debbie. Like he has
I-
faith that
I
Filoni.
don't I don't think he cares. I think he cares about getting a paycheck. But like when Ahsoka's like, I won't fight you, and then Anakin's like, I've heard that before, and then you're like, oh, I know what he's referring to. But it's like they can do it. He did it with Balin. They did it with Jod. But I mean, John Watts is a different class of filmmaker
John
in general. But like they can do it. They did it with Andor, and there weren't even lightsabers in that show.
There's not a single one.
No, they can do it. They just
Are we overreacting, Debbie? I feel like we're going on this tangent that we're frustrated about, and you seem to be okay with that kind of gap and just filling in the blanks yourself.
I'm following my poll answer. That's what I'm following. I'm following my passion poll answer.
Oh, yes, we do have cookies. I need to go get some though. They're from Tiff's Treats. Do you like Tiff's Treats, Janae? All night I'm here. I heard only the dark side have cookie. That's right. We didn't even call you 3 times and you showed up. That's where we're at now. You just know. Seriously though, Debbie, what I don't want to talk this point too much more, but it just seems that there are some bits that I would hope we would get to help us understand, and that there is more to it than just slow pacing. I mean, would you agree that the pacing was slow on that?
Yeah, it was slow. But I guess my thinking is, and I could be wrong on this, but I pretty sure they announced season 2 before season 1 was even over with. So I'm thinking, there's going to be more to it, maybe some flashbacks. I don't know. But I'm just thinking from my own personal experience with trauma and life itself, loss.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just from my own experience, yeah, you do become stoic at times. I mean, I was that way for several years. There was a few years where, unaliving came to mind, but shit happens.
Yeah.
I don't know, that's just my thought that, she's going through shit. She's lost a lot of people. And maybe she's torn about, should I be a Jedi or should I not be? Maybe that's what's going through her head. I don't know.
We're putting
But
more
I'm
thought
hoping
into it
season
than they
2.
are.
I'm hoping season 2 reveals that.
Yeah. When does it come out? Do we know?
I don't even think they
26?
started filming.
I thought they said something about 26. Yeah. I don't know.
I think they start filming here in the next month or so.
Okay.
Oh well.
That's good. I saw they recasted, and that's fine. I'm okay with that recasting. Like, that matters what I think. But I liked him in Game of Thrones. I thought he was fantastic.
If we can get more Game of Thrones actors, we'd be in good shape.
Yeah, 100%. All right. Well, we seem very passionate this evening about a few things, and tonight we're talking about passion and peace. And whenever I pose the question in the polls for the week, thank you again, Cam, for jumping in and putting that, because I couldn't make it work.
Anything for you, Captain?
Thank you. There's certainly swaying for the peace side. And I was talking in the pre-show
Boo.
about passion and peace, and some comments were like, you got to be balanced, right? You got to have both. You can't just be passionate, or can't just sit there. And I mean, I kind of got to the point where it's like maybe we need to define what peace is and what passion is, because I can be at peace with my life and decisions, but not peaceful inside because I have a passion in me that is I'm trying to do. I gotta go. And yes, Cam just likes chaos. Amen. Thank you, Janae.
Damn straight, Janae.
So, I mean, how would you look at that? Just looking at just those two words within you, like before we start looking at the Jedi and the Sith. How do you feel when I say passion and peace? How do you define those within you? What's passion and what is peace? I know, right? Come on, Dana. You're making us think and shit. No.
Bro, what is this freaking philosophy class? What are we
It
doing?
is. Dude, we're just talking Jedi's and
Holy
Sith.
bro!
That's what all this
like
is.
4
The
years
whole
ago,
show
man. What
is
the hell?
wrapped around philosophy and oh my god. Did you not read
Man.
the show description whenever you joined our show? Is it?
No, I do. I read it all, brother. What are you talking about?
I mean, so here
all I can say is I lost passion a long time ago. I don't really give a flying, you know what?
Say it. Say it. Say it. Say it. Say it. Say it.
I've said it once this show. I don't want to make it R-rated.
Well, I've said it like 4 times. It's okay.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. I mean, right now, I have friends who, they're like, I know a guy, why don't you let me hook you up? Blah, 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 blah. I really don't care anymore. I'm too old. I'm at peace with what I'm doing now, being a hermit as much as I can be a hermit because, I still have to pay the bills. I still have to go to work. But I'm at peace with where I'm at and what I'm doing. And I could give a flying fuck about any of that shit. I don't, I have my cat.
Chewy.
And I have my kids, so
I would ask you the question though, are you not passionate about your fandoms, whether that's Star Wars, Star Trek? Do you not have passion for those things? Right?
I mean, yeah, I guess I do. I mean, I'm not overzealous about them. I mean, I love my Star Wars Legends. I'm rereading those. I love my Marvel. I mean, I can only go by the movies because that's all I've seen. I've never read the comics. Although today I took a leap.
Wow.
Because I kept seeing people talk on TikTok about this book. And y'all know how much I love Bucky Barnes, Winter Soldier.
Oh yeah.
Okay. There's a book out. I don't know how new it is. I think it's fairly new, but it's called Winter Soldier Cold Front. I think it's a young adult book, but people are loving it. Now, it's not the MCU Bucky, which I'm fine with.
But you still imagine Sebastian Stan, I guess, right?
Oh, fuck yes.
Oh, yes. God, that's three. That's three. That's your quota.
It'll be his face I see.
Oh, my goodness.
It'll be his voice I hear. So.
When you're reading the book.
Yes.
Okay.
It'll be in his voice. And, I do that with Star Wars when I read Legends, it's in everybody's voice.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a little mini movie in my head. But anyway, so I bought that this evening. I tried to buy it at work and my internet wasn't working at work, but I bought that. So I was like, okay, this is my first. I mean, it's not a comic book, but my first Marvel reading. We'll see how it goes. I have a
feeling if Zane were here, I'll speak for him. Wait, what? Awesome. Kim, passion and peace. I mean, being at peace and being peaceful, those are two different things. How would you define being passion or having passion and having peace within what you're doing or your life?
Brother, I am never at peace. I'm the most anxious man on this planet. by far.
What did we see, Janae? I'll pull this one up. Cam just likes chaos.
Absolutely, brother. I am nothing but that. I am very passionate about most things that I involve myself in because, in my eyes, if I don't give what I am doing into love, whatever, if I'm not giving it 110, it's just not even worth the energy to do it. That is why I struggle to sleep at night. But I don't know, man. Like, I would say if I would, I mean, I'm a little different because I mean I'm obviously me and Zane are some of the younger ones in the group, and we still want to to Debbie's point, I haven't given up on life just yet to a certain extent on some things, but no, I'm 100% fueled by my passion for a lot of things because I feel like if I didn't do that, I probably wouldn't be able to get out of bed.
I mean, do you achieve a sense of peace through
No.
pursuing your passion? Like
Never.
No.
No, I finish, and my thought process is like, I finish one Legends book. I look at the little timeline thing that I have on favorite on my notes, and I'm like, God, I'm so far behind. I need to, but I don't have 10 hours a day to read. You know, I have two peeps right here that are just knocking me back and forth. Like I don't know. I don't think I ever achieve true peace, and it drives my wife insane.
I look at, we've talked about Sith code, pieces alive, there's only passion. That's how we sign off every show and every video, because I really feel that, how you define passion, how you define peace, this means something a little different. I get that. But when you just take it at face value, if you can have a sense of peace if you know what you're doing and everything inside of you that you're pouring into your passion. If all of that's going that way, then you can sleep at night knowing that's a sense of peace, right? I have a sense of peace knowing I'm doing everything I can within my power, 110, to pursue my passion or whatever I'm passionate about. If I just said I love Star Wars and I'm passionate about it, and I could make a podcast, whether there's one person or no people or 100 people listening, my passion is Star Wars, right? My passion is connecting with people. My passion is coaching people. My passion is all of these things that I can do with a podcast. So I can sleep at night knowing I'm pursuing my passion. I am at peace knowing I'm passionate about these things and doing the things to succeed in those areas. Now, where we start to get into a little weird line is the Lucas definition of balance, right? I feel like you have to have some passion, or else literally, like, you can't be peaceful if you're just sitting there. And that's why I told Debbie, no, Debbie, you are passionate about these things. Because if you weren't, you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't waste your time. And it's like, well, what else am I going to do on a Tuesday night? Well, actually, if there was a show on, I know you'd do that, because that's what you do when there is one and not the show. So he is so passionate about this show that she'll watch another show, then come on to our show. But
that's dedication, brother.
Isn't it? No, the point is, like, you can't have. It's hard to have one without the other. And if you're passionate, I'm passionate about all of this stuff. And if I wasn't using my passion in a creative way or in a creative outlet, I wouldn't be at peace. And when you look at Revan, and you look at Treya, and you look at Crate, and you like, they had a passion and they pursued their passion. And no, yeah, peace is alive. There's only passion. Yes. But it was their inability to harness the passion and keep it contained and focused that ultimately was their demise. They couldn't be at peace because there was no focus for their passion. there was focus enough to kill a lot of people in a lot of situations, or unlive them. Sorry, but there's nothing within those stories of those individuals that would point to they were peaceful or any sense of peace. So when Lucas says balance is achieved by light side and being at peace, granted it's his IP, or it's not his IP anymore, but granted it was his story. And if he says light side is balance, fine, light side is balance. But for us in the real world, I don't believe wholly sitting and trying to remain peaceful, you can achieve any sort of peace. That's just my 2 cents. When we look at, let's say, your boy Palpy, right? So Palpatine was passionate about his way of overtaking everything. Was he more passionate about his rise to power, or was he more passionate about sustaining his life? What do you think he was more passionate about?
All of the above, because it led to the end game.
Mm.
So when he says to the Senate, we'll create a grand army, blah, blah, blah. No, not that. The attack has left me scarred, blah, blah, blah. And we will reform into the first galactic empire, and then we shall have peace. This is how liberty dies. No, that's another movie, but still the same thing. When you look at that sort of peace that he's talking about, is that a peace that we can relate to or that we've seen? I'm kind of leading you on this question, in the likes of, say, Germany in the 40s, say other imperialistic type nations. Would you say that their passions prevented peace?
No, I mean, it achieved their version of peace.
Their
Like, I mean,
version. Yeah.
there's like, it's all a point of perspective, right? Because I mean, we know who the empire is based off of,
Yeah.
right? And I mean, Palpatine's version of peace was he would rule with an iron fist for as long, ideally forever, as he could. And you either bent the knee or got your knee bent.
Mm-hmm.
There was no middle ground. There was his way where he died. I mean, there was,
Yeah.
but to him, that's peace. To him, having the Jedi and the Republic's ideals not even playing a factor into how the galaxy's operating, like, that is peace to him. That is how he thinks he can operate the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you got to think he's just different, man. Like, he's a master of all the lightsaber forms, and yet refuses to use a lightsaber because it's too Jedi-like. I mean, it's just when he tells that to the Senate, like, you're like, we know it's not peace, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, from a certain point of view to others, it is peace. That is where they were heading all along. And there were some in the room that, I mean, everyone cheered, right?
Yeah.
Most people cheered, and half of them probably didn't even realize they were getting played.
Yep. So I had a guy that worked for me at one of my companies, and he was from Romania, from before it, like when it was still communism, and he talked a lot about how you Americans are stupid. You're like the frog in the pot. You don't even know what's happening right now. And he said that back in like 90, like 2000, 2004, like way back. And when I think of passion and peace, and I think of what he was saying, someone who came from a place where things were not as they seem, or became not what you thought that they were going to be. Not me forgetting y'all are streaming. Eris Korriban just called me on my cell phone, knowing I was on. Thank you, Madison. Just kidding. And then she joined to make it. Anyways, the frog and pot analogy, right? You turn up the heat slowly. So that's exactly what Palpatine did, right? He slowly turned up the water. That's exactly what Hitler did. He slowly turned up the water. That's exactly what Lenin did. Slowly turned. Every one of them slowly turned up the water. It's all about pacing. It's Dave Filoni slowly turning up the water.
He's still turning up the water, some say.
Yes, it's a tepid 88 degrees right now. Just ugh.
But we're just praying that brother breaks 90 by 2028, brother. We're hoping.
So these folks that we just mentioned, right? Like they all had passion, they all had a peace, and to Cam's point, their passion definition, their peace definition, maybe slightly different than ours. And for them it worked. For me, I can't not be actively pursuing something that within me needs to get out. Like I just can't. Maybe there'll be a time in my life where I do, or where I can. But that doesn't mean, Debbie, you're not passionate about anything when you say I'm just a hermit. Come on. You got a picture of yourself with Hayden, and I don't have that. That's amazing. You got pictures
Hello,
with
Hayden.
several people, right? You have
Oh.
several. Just Hayden? Maybe I'm just thinking about your wallpaper. Yeah,
That's my boy.
you just keep it right there. It's freaking
My
amazing.
boy. My boy.
It's right here.
My
It's right
boy.
here.
With my other boy, who's actually my boy.
There you go. Your two boys. So having something that you're passionate about is extremely important. Find that, right? The Revens of the Star Wars universe found their passion and made very well. American Psycho, he had a passion and he followed it and succeeded in many ways. If anyone was listening and they heard that, good for you. That's a great movie, both of them, American Psychos. All right, so wrapping up this peace versus passion thing, I know that we're living right now in a kind of weird time, and politically it's just a crazy landscape, and all over our world it's all crazy, and who knows what's going to happen tomorrow. But I will say that people do what they do because of a passion, whether it's the emperor, slowly making moves to take over the galaxy. He has a passion for leadership, and he has a passion. He wants to rule the shit, so he makes it happen, and then he sleeps at night. So at the end of the day, figure out what the hell your definition of passion is. What is it that you're passionate about, and do it. And Cam, you like playing golf when you can. You do. You're passionate about playing golf when you can, and then you're at peace when you're You may not be at peace throwing clubs, but whenever you are off, like, drinking that beer afterwards or while, it's worth it. That's the peace, right? That comes with the passion. I always thought that that first tenet of peace is alive, there's only passion, it said so much, that if you don't have a passion, then you can't have peace. That's just my take. Debbie's take's different, but my take is you have to have both. You can't have one without the other. How peaceful are you with that photo of Hayden and you and your boy? Yeah, it makes it like that's what I'm saying. Like your passion led to a moment that you can revisit of peace over and over again. It's the gift that keeps on giving, Clark. It's the jelly of the month. Oh my god! All right, that's enough. That was too deep for a shoot the breeze episode. We got about 15 minutes, and we're gonna shut it off. Yes, Debbie, we're shutting off early tonight. We don't have
That's not
Zane.
early.
What?
That's
Yeah,
not
I'm
But-
early.
I've been able to upload multiple episodes. For those of you that are just new to the show or just started following, we do upload these episodes to Spotify, iTunes, all the stuff and things on Wednesdays. And then I upload old stuff to that format as well, the audio format for the podcast. So old stuff from the GNN network of the past. So because these are smaller shows, I'm able to upload a couple of more of those a month. I think I'm up to like 17 or 18, and we were up
30
to like
at
40,
least.
40 or something. Yeah, over in the GNN world. So about halfway. I've got about halfway to go. Those shows though, it's okay if you miss the first couple. For real. Join them once we started having like Kat and Debbie on. Those were the good shows. That's when we started getting the viewership of 3 or 4 per show.
I just sit here.
No, you don't. Where's Kat though? I haven't spoken. We need to get her on the show. She hadn't been on in a while. Let her talk up some not nerdy nonsense.
She's
What's
been
it called?
sick.
Yeah.
Off and on. Yeah.
I just forgot. Who is this Spooky Jawa? Ooh, Spooky Jawa. Oh, I love your avatar, Spooky Jawa. What's up? It's a cool avatar.
Spooky Jawa.
So, parting shots for this evening. I have a request. I want to know. I can't believe I'm going to ask this question. You get to tell Filoni. You get to whisper in his ear, and you get to tell him one thing that will happen in the Ahsoka season 2. You, by saying this, will manifest it, and it will happen. What is it that you want to see that you would tell Filoni?
I'll let Debbie go first.
Can you just run this in X2 mode, please?
I don't know. I mean, there's some rumors going around that I would really like to see. And that's Hayden will be back. Plus, Ewan. Oh my god, I forgot his name. Ewan.
Daddy Obi-Wan.
Yes.
Oh my
And
God.
the I can't remember her name, but the little girl who played young Ahsoka.
Yeah.
I heard they're all coming back.
Awesome.
So I'm
we'll get
assuming
more.
I'm assuming Clone War flashbacks,
Mhm.
which I know people get tired with the flashbacks, but just seeing Anakin, yes, thank you. Anakin, we've seen him in his Clone Wars armor. Would love to see Obi-Wan in his, but that's just me, so I can just sit there and drool for, half hour or so.
So I said, what's the one thing you would tell Dave Filoni? And you had a list. You say you don't have nothing to say, but that was a list, and I'm sure you have more. Let us know. What else?
Oh my god. I'm old.
Oh my God, I'm empty. I gave it all. You had my whole bag of F's to give, and they're gone, Dana, and we're not even at the end of the show.
Yeah, more episodes. I don't, and I get tired of the 6 episode bullshit. Give me, give me 16. Give me 20. Give me fucking 20 episodes.
That's 4. You went over your quota.
Do I have a quota on F words?
All right. Well, we're gonna have to.
You know me.
Start
Come
checking the
on.
explicit box now. Cameron, don't fall asleep. Tell me what you're going to whisper into Filoni's ear and not go jump off a cliff, because he did do some great things for us. So, what would you whisper to him to say, you need to make this happen now?
I'm thinking.
You had a time to think the whole time I was making up shit. Come on.
I'll just say, I need father, brother, sister. I need that. And I need, if you're going to put Anakin in the world between worlds, I need some of that. I need Anakin, and I need that arc, and I need Ahsoka and Obi-Wan coming back into a flashback live action, something from their time on more. Like, that's what I would whisper to him. I need to see that. I want that. I need to see that. Not the cats walking across the screen, but I need to see. No, I mean, usually it's Chewie over on Debbie's side, but that's okay.
She's
That's
walked
what I need to see.
several times.
That's what I want to see. I don't want you guys to think like Ahsoka is just Ahsoka, right? Like, Balin was my favorite, absolute favorite character, and probably a top 5 of mine in the entire universe now. Love Balin Skull. Cam, what do you got, man?
Flashback on Balin.
Real quick. Spooky Jawa was our 70th subscriber on YouTube. Also,
Thank
our
you,
guy,
Spooky.
I don't remember his name last week, that was all engaged the whole time. He was number 66. We got number 66 on our 66th episode about Order 66. It was fantastic. But Spooky Jawa was our 70th. Thank you.
Thank you,
Go.
Spooky.
Sorry, Cam. Go.
Don't feel afraid to give your characters some depth and make them vulnerable.
Are you leaving the decision making up to him? You're just nudging him?
I mean, what other option do we have?
Do you trust him?
No.
Come on.
Nope.
I thoroughly do not.
You get Bryce Dallas Howard in there as a director. Wouldn't that be something? Do we
Give her a
know?
break.
Is he writing?
Is she writing Bryce Dallas Howard, or is he writing Dave Filoni? I
Is
don't
he
know.
writing?
She's just a director. She's not
Yeah,
writing.
I don't think she'll write any.
Mm.
So then, if Dave
If-
Filoni's writing,
If Dave Filoni's writing, it's gonna be hit or miss.
you think he's a one trick pony?
I don't think his.
Is he done? I guess is my question.
No, I don't think he's figured out pacing for live action. But I think you could say that for majority of the Star Wars shows. I think, but it's
I
the
think
thing
you
with,
need to have him and Favreau work closely together on shows.
I think
I know they do it separately, but
I think if Lucasfilm has any hope, they'd be giving Tony Gilroy a blank checkbook and telling him to be a part of this decision making.
Is that really one of the hardest things for you, Cam? At least that's how I'm reading it. Is that it's not, and to your point earlier, Debbie, that there's no content out there to draw from. But we have great writers that have dabbled in the Star Wars universe that are passionate about Star Wars. Is that one of your complaints too, then? That, hey, why aren't you going out and getting these people that have outright said, I would love to write for Star Wars? I mean, why aren't they going after those folks?
I think they do.
Cam's like, I got nothing. I don't know why.
But I think the higher ups want to have control, and that's where things get all screwed up. You need to hire, if you have a writer who comes to you and says, oh my God, I love Star Wars. I have some ideas. Let me pitch them to you. This is what I want to do, whether it's a TV show, movie, whatever.
Yep.
But I have control.
Good luck.
You can't tell me what I can and cannot do. No agendas, just good storyline.
Mm-hmm.
And, Filoni and Favreau, whoever's in control over there, they just need to tell, I assume it's the shareholders,
Mm.
just tell them that, mind your own business, stay in your own lane, and let us do our shit.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Spooky Jawa, I agree with Cam. Filoni had a big role creating Clone Wars, but with Ahsoka, it didn't feel the same. It's cool seeing Anakin and Rex, yeah, live action in their Clone Wars forms. But still, with that, didn't we see? Sorry to break off of this. Didn't we see Zeb in like Mando or something? We saw him in some show at the end, and we didn't see him at all in Ahsoka. Do we know where Zeb is?
He's at the base, Rebel base. That was Mando.
That was Mando where we saw him.
Mando's season 3, I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah. Okay. And we got all excited because we were like, "Oh my God, Zeb live action!" Yeah.
Yeah, I think we'll see him again. Hopefully,
Okay.
because I would like to see in season 2 of Ahsoka the whole gang get back together.
Yeah. Something felt missing. Well, and maybe that's it. Thanks, Spooky Jawa. What was one of your biggest complaints, Cam, was that you never got all of those cats on the screen at the same time in the sequels. You never had Chewie, Luke, Leia, Han, R2, and 3PO all on the screen at the same time. And they're the only characters that from Star Wars A New Hope to Star Wars, I can't think of Return of the Jedi, that were in all of those. Of course, Vader, but you know what I mean. The rebel team. And we get to The Last Jedi and they don't, or excuse me, we get to Force Awakens and they don't ever get on the same screen. And that was, I agree with you, Cam, 100%. That was bullshit. How do you not do that?
I mean,
I
it could have
believe-
been a 10-minute shot, of them being together and saying, "Hey, this is what we need to do." Whatever.
Would it
just
be
something.
behoove them then
Let
to
the past
get
die.
them back? Let the past die. You always make me do it. I have to do it. Kill it if you have to. Anyway,
Except Palpatine. Everybody has to die, but Palpatine. Apparently.
Yeah. Shit. What were we saying? Damn it. I forgot where we were. Doesn't matter. It's the end of the show. Look, this was fun. Oh yeah, getting them all on the screen at the same time. That absolutely needs to happen. For Ahsoka. Whew. Okay. What do we get this? I don't know what that is. Oh, yeah, you can go away. That's exactly what my friend said. We'll close out with this comment from Spooky Jawa. That's exactly what my friend said. I actually recorded an episode today or something about how somehow all these characters get together in one epic adventure, and they don't do that for our heroes of the original trilogy, and that's BS.
Because they're not all heroes anymore. They failed. They're losers. They are losers that failed. And the new
Absolutely,
ones are better.
Spooky Jawa. Thank you for joining. We appreciate it. Yeah, man. I don't know what we'll talk about next week. I'll spend some time coming up with some shows, try to get some guests. Maybe we'll get Oaken Sabers back on, or DJ Elliott, one of those cats. It'll be fun. This week, the poll was overwhelmingly pushing towards peace. And what that tells me, or what I can read from that, is that folks generally just want to, live your life, man. Just take a deep breath, look at the sun.
Be a hermit.
Be a hermit. Order your groceries, stuff like that. Not DoorDash. Don't get vitamin D except out of a jar because you can't get any sunlight.
That's my
I don't
model.
know. This was fun. And for those of you still on the TikTok world, I still see someone there. Thank you. Really appreciate you joining and engagement. And Andrew, sorry you couldn't make the show tonight. Maybe next time. Cam, I'm glad you had a cam. It's wonderful. Thank
Thank
you.
you for the cam, brother. Really looking
Absolutely.
out, Captain.
Debbie, great show as always. Zane, sucker. No. I think Zane would have had a great time tonight because he does like to defend Ahsoka. I think he and Filoni are in the same boat with Ahsoka, and we'll just leave that there. Watch it. Cool World. That was the movie I referenced earlier with Brad Pitt, and he falls in love with his own animation. Yep. I think one of the quotes from that movie that always stuck with me was, "Man was in the bedroom." And I'll leave you all with that. Enjoy watching Cool World. Yeah. And enjoy watching The Last Jedi. That was the movie we talked about.
Don't
Just
enjoy
kidding.
watching it. Nah, you should. Enjoy it. Enjoy it if you enjoy it. I'm glad you
Go
do.
check out our friends Feast of Fandoms. They've got like 4-8 shows over there, something like that. We all know Debbie's on Cantina Happy Hour. She's which is Star Wars. She's on MCU Mondays. MCU. Also Saturday for Geek Gauntlet. She's on there sometimes, right? No, never. But Andrew is sometimes. We have Cam and Focus, which is more regular now, it seems, and that's great. Cam is amazing. I don't remember what they're doing, but they've reviewed like Krull. You remember that movie? That was crazy. And I don't know, Never Ending Story.
Yeah, we're just talking about some well-known movies and then some kind of obscure movies like Krull.
Like Krull. That's still good though. It was a great movie. Yeah. Cool.
The trailer turned me off, so I didn't watch it. I was just like, oh my God, that was awful. Wow.
Oh my goodness.
And then Friday I'm on Star Trek show, Geek and I podcast.
Geek and I? Okay. Has there been a sabers and logs and lightsabers? Captain's log and lightsabers lately?
If not, they're due for one because they usually drop one. I think they did drop one. I think they were reviewing Skeleton Crew.
Very cool.
Great show.
As a whole.
That was great. Skeleton Crew is good. All right. We're going to shut it down. So we'll see you all next week. Appreciate the engagement. Spooky Jawa, thank you.
Thank you, Spooky.
Anderson, thank you. Or I don't know, it was Bill Anderson. Bill Anderson. No, it's not Bill. Brandon Anderson. Bill Anderson. Janae, of course. Janae. Oh, she's here. And the rest of yous. Josiah popping in for a bit. All right. Remember, kids, peace is a lie. There's only passion. Good night.